have been skinning the other pontoon now. Yep, getting it all skinned, and I've also been working on this front up here, getting it all shaped up. You see, I sat here and did this earlier. I've got epoxy, I've got stainless steel screws going through it, I've got clamps on it. All right, I'm gonna give a little update of what's going on here. I got that half cut PVC tied up with these binders up around the bottom of the boat right here, you see. Let's see if you can see it there. All down through here. Look back the other way. I'm using it like a mold that I'm going to pour a little resin down in there and form a bottom on that and seal the edges of that plywood. Same thing here again. I'm going to perforate all of this right here where it gets in small on the front of the boat and narrows in. I'm going to, same thing, we'll go through my grinder on both sides. I'm going to perforate it to where it'll flex, be able to close up. Looks like it's sealed pretty good along down through here. I'm just using it to make me a nice radius. Then I'm going to wrap fiberglass cloth or CSM around all of that right there. I want that nice radius come around. Every bit of this is going to have a nice radius. I want to talk about this outboard hanging on the back right here. So I had that Yamaha 25 horse on there, and you remember when I chopped off the back of this boat and built this transom in here, and I've had that Yamaha. It had no trouble on here, and there's a reason I'm telling this story. I'm trying to avoid robbing that Yamaha as my kicker motor off of that Sea Ray, and I'm going to revisit different thing here. It's something I wasn't very crazy about, and it ain't going to be this little tiny thing either, a little 5-horse job. It's way too short. So any of you that don't remember this diesel, I ordered this. It's new, if you want to call it new, from China, and that's a V twin diesel. I feel pretty confident this little diesel is probably a pretty darn good motor. Besides the really crappy work they did everywhere, they even painted the filters. Yeah, filters it's supposed to suck air through, and they're painted in. So I'll have to replace these. So you know, shoddy work. Look at this shoddy work, how this all put on here. Solenoid just thrown on here, one bolt, no other bolt. It looks like it had a hole. This crappiness, crap. Rigged up systems around on it. Look at this exhaust wrapping, and the wrapping's already fallen off, so you know how that heat's going to be. But maybe I can just work on it and try to overcome a bunch of these things. The reason I'm saying I'm going to see if this will work on that boat. I'm thinking about trying it. I'm thinking about cranking this thing up, try to use it. If I can overcome some crappy stuff they did. Now that you that don't know it, I filed a protest through Alibaba and with my credit card company to the manufacturer of this that shipped it to me, it sold it to me, and they never even disputed it. I just got all my money back. They just never even a dispute, never even like, no, he's wrong, or it was like this. This wasn't what I ordered. I had all the images and all our conversation. Alibaba backed me up on it, and so did my car company, and the other company never even responded to the dispute, never said a word. They just let me get my money back. So I had this big old behemoth for free. But I don't think it would be that bad just to have a little fun with it and try to fix some of their things they did. Real crappy work. Look how they did the throttle on this. Big old long piece of cable just ran down inside in there, and this like piece looks like it was made in a backyard. I mean, it's just cruddy made. But I have a lot of confidence in the motor, and if the lower end is a Yamaha as it looks like it is, I'd probably have some confidence in that. It's gonna be your forward and reverse, and So it's just the housing, the in between. But I've got it for free now. Might as well try to use it. I got the Ford controls, the ignition, everything for it. Extra prop, extra water pump kit. Well, you know how I had that diesel motor sitting over there and it looked just so big and ridiculous. Definitely things that's got to be addressed, like this rubber hose right up at the exhaust that's coming unwrapped with heat shield. You know, they didn't even tie it away. Do a little work on some of these things. It's definitely got to have some things done. It does have the appearance to look big because they made it long and they put this big midsection in here. And it does have to have a kind of big cowling because it is a V-twin diesel. Let's see what it does. And it may not work out good on this boat. It just may not be the right fit for it. And if it ain't, I'll yank it off and figure something else out and put the Yamaha back on it. But for experimenting purposes on my newly built Trimaran, let's try it. Let's just give it a try. Y'all have all wondered, that's been with me for a while, about the diesel. I've never started it. It's been here since last, January. So, you know, you're talking about a month and a half away from being a year. I ordered it in early part or November or October last year, a year ago, and then they drug out getting it here. And then when they did get it here, it wasn't what I paid for, and it wasn't the quality that I paid for either. So aside of all that, it's sitting here, and let's just see what it'll do. You know, that's what I'm doing. I'm building, I'm hobbying, I'm playing, I'm testing, and I'm building a Trimaran. Yeah, building a Trimaran. So I've been doing a little research on this diesel motor right here, this V-twin. Back underneath right in here, I found a number on the cylinders, on cylinder head. I found this name here and started doing a little research on it. Now we all seen it said 25 on the cover in great big crooked letters, 25, like it's 25 horsepower. And when they sold it as a 25 horsepower, but it is not a 25 horsepower. It is about a 16 horsepower, and that's with it running at about 3,600 RPMs. But it does have quite a bit of torque, so there is a huge difference right there. So the cowling does look big, but that's just lightweight fiberglass. I mean, you can see here, I can wiggle it. And the cover right here is not very heavy either. It's a lot of cover, but actually that doesn't weigh much. So where's the weight come from? Well, it's not actually too bad even from the motor. I did a little research and even seen a manufacturing video on this motor, and it is a aluminum block. So I'm gonna go get a magnet and see if what is and isn't magnetic on here. So here we go. I got these magnets. Let's look for something where you can see it is magnetic, like right there. That's magnetic, you see. So that's the flywheel, just giving us a base so you can see these are magnets. We'll touch it something else, like here on solenoid, the starter. But let's touch the block. Nothing. Nothing. So it's true that is an aluminum block, as it said. Yeah, nothing. All right, and then but it said in one that it had a cast iron cylinders, but I think that was on the air-cooled version of it, because that outer jacket right there is aluminum with a cast iron sleeve in them, which is like a lot of diesels are. I'm gonna turn this on and see if any diesel goes through the system and pumps out. Try to get it primed. You got any diesel? So I have another little bit of an update. This filter does not have a check valve. You can buy filters with or without check valve. This one does not have check valve. So if you have a fuel tank down low, it's always going to siphon back, and you don't want that with a diesel, even with this lift pump. So what I have over here is I have one of these. It's kind of rusty, but it's still good. That is a primer bulb, and it has a check valve in it. So for right now, I'm going to stick it in line so the fuel won't keep draining back. All right, we're going to give this thing a shot and see what it does. So we're going to turn on the water. I got a set of muffs on the bottom down there. So first thing we'll cover is about this little diesel this morning. So we couldn't get it to start. All right, we could not get it to start. It's a self-priming engine. It's a self-bleeding engine. I did get online and find one of the manufacturers of this motor. There's several companies produce the same motor. They actually had a service manual online on it. Got a lot of the torque specs and everything. Download that as a PDF file. And it's a self-priming motor, and it has this lift pump right here. And so just to be sure that it was getting fuel to the injector pump, I took the line loose right there, and we turned the pump on, and oh boy, yeah, it's pumping diesel up there to it. And then of course it has these little return lines here on the injectors and goes back to the tank and all. And so I decided while we were cranking on it, I would crack these open at the injectors. Now you see there's a hole here, and that's what we're about to talk about. So when you turn the key off on this thing, it is a fuel shut off on it, just like most cars, trucks, everything have that has a diesel motor. That's how you turn it off, is you shut the fuel supply off. And you don't turn off a spark, because the diesel don't have a spark. So you don't turn off the ignition, you don't turn off the computer, you turn off the fuel supply. And that's either going to be manually, like a lot of old diesel tractors and different things. You'd have a little lever, or you'd pull or pull down, and you'd be manually doing that. A lot of the Bangka boats, the pump boats, have those little one-cylinder little diesels down in them they buy and drop. Has a little manual lever you'll trip over, and it cuts the fuel off. But this one has a solenoid. It has a solenoid. So I cracked this open and cranked, and it was never getting any fuel out the injectors. So I took the wiring loose right here, and I checked for voltage here. So what it does, when you turn the key on, power activates and holds this in the whole time that it's running. And when you turn the key off and there's no more power, this plunger comes out. It pushes in this little pedal right in here, and that shuts fuel off. And then when you turn the key back on, it sucks in, it lets go, fuel flows again, and you can hit the key and start it. So there was the weak point right there. It's a solenoid. Technically, right this moment, I could probably put the battery back on it, hit the key and start it. When I get ready to kill it, reach right there and push it in. But of course, it's going to have blow by to come out, because it's leaving an open place on the crankcase. I'm going to try to start this motor again. All right, fuel. You got the in, you got the return. All that's good. Batteries on it. Got this full of water. And with that fuel cutoff solenoid removed, it should be in the automatic run position. I should just need to stick my finger in there to stop it and kill the motor. Wow. I see water coming down from the Oh, it didn't stay going. But it did start. Let's see if it starts again. So maybe it's still got a little air to the lines. Wow. I'll check all that out, but I just want to look at things after it initially started. So I thought I would be seeing water coming out right here. think it's just trying to get air out of the system. Fuel pump's running. See if I got a return going here yet. Trying to chase down which lines, which think this is the return. Should just be a drip if it does anything. Pretty much when it's running. What's coming back off the injectors. Yep, just like that. That should be all she should have. So that looks good. It's supposed to be a self-bleeding engine. Oh, it stopped again. We'll get it there. A ton of blow-by coming out of this hole right here. I mean, it's like a breeze blowing out right there. There's so much blowing back through. I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, why would there be that much crankcase pressure on a diesel? And these are, make sure those are not restricted. Those are the crankcase vents right there. Oh, what the heck? Is that blocked? Is there, I mean, this screwdriver won't go in. Maybe it needs a smaller one. Maybe that screwdriver's too big. You just don't want to drop this nail in the hole, but let's see. Okay, okay. So that's open, and that's open. So maybe it's just taking the easiest path out right there instead of here, but still, why so much blow by? Why so much blow by? So, should be water returning here. It's not pumping water up here. It should, without a doubt, have water flowing out right there. Maybe I need to prime the motor. Get this pump primed right here. But that pump down there should definitely be pushing it up. And my question still is why is water coming out right there unless this assembly is not put together right in the bottom end where the pump is in the lower. Maybe water's just spraying out down in there. There's definitely water coming out right there and no water up here. So see that there's a plug right here. I'm going to remove this plug. This is right at the return line, or I could just hold the hose up. It could slide out right there, but I'll pull this plug and I'm going to pour water in there. I say I can just hold the hose up and pour water up it, or take the water hose and push water up it. We'll see. Something. It's either airlocked, which shouldn't need to worry about that on a boat motor, or I have a feeling that the pump down here is not pushing it up. So a little investigation here. That's so cool that the tractor engine cranked up. Yeah, the poppin' Johnny. Pop, 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 pop. No, overall it didn't sound too bad, you know. It really didn't sound too bad at all. Man. uh, really a lot of blow by out that hole. I don't understand that. So I just tried it. I pulled this tube out, filled up with water, cranked it up. No difference, but it does have water coming all out down below down here, which makes me think that something's not connected down there correct with the water pump, the lift pump for the raw water down in the bottom end down there. So I do have an extra impeller kit here though, because when they sent it, that was something I requested and they followed through on. Miracle. Should have asked for one extra of every part. Maybe 2 or 3 extras of every part, and then it might have been worth it. Like I say, for you that don't know, I got completely refunded for this motor, so anything it is, it's for free. Yeah, it's all be according to what I throw at it after the fact. Like right now I need to buy a $20 solenoid, but hey, you know, so be it, because this motor alone right here has got a little value. If I took it off and yanked it off of this, put it on a different application, it's got value. That lower end's got value, you know. So yeah. Okay, so I just tell you the truth, I've been dying for an excuse to pull all this apart right here. So this is definitely my excuse, because looking at the way it's built, and it looks to be supported So you seen that water coming out down there. Wow, there's some kind of debris running out too into the water there, and it's peeing out warm water, and that has me highly concerned. And the reason that's highly concerned is because this does not have a wet exhaust. So this is the water coming into the motor here from down below, from the lower pump, and then they've got it choked down here, and it goes into the water pump. It circulates on the motor, and then it comes out across this jug, water jacket around cylinder in the head, and comes across over to the other one, and then internal inside the motor is water passages, and the water passes through here, and they both come out and should return out this hose. So what is happening? That warm water is coming down right there. That is highly concerning. I better check the oil and see if it's milky, and maybe it might be a total blessing if I got my money back if this motor's bunk, you know. And the oil's clean, so that looks good. Yep, that looks good. See any water dripping on the motor anywhere? And you see, this is the exhaust. It just comes right off the head, and then over here right off the head, and they made a T. They wrapped it with some kind of heat tape all the way around down there. Boys, definitely got to be pulled away from there. And then they just got it going right down there and straight down. Like I say, this is the one coming up from the pump. So I just found a new discovery. when I pulled this off, there is no gasket. I think this should have an O-ring on it right here, and it's lipped in like for an O-ring, but there was no O-ring. It's just absolutely unreal. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But I did discover something. It's got you got 3 wires in and you got 4 wires out. Okay, one of them's probably a signal of some type. I don't know. I mean, it's the 4th one stops here. There's not a 4th coming on out this side, so I don't have a schematic to know how that was wired. But the black is definitely ground. The red will hold the plunger down, but the white is what sucks it in. So the red one won't pull it in, but if you pull it, it'll hold it. The white engages it and sucks it back. So I'm going to try this again, and I'm going to chase down some wiring on here to know what the situation is of what would be the hold on that, or how this wiring should be, and figure it out. So this actually may be good because I hooked it to the power and it worked like that. Got the little power right here. I'll show you here. Bear with me, I have to figure out how to hold the camera here and show you this at the same time. So here's the connections I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with, we'll figure this out. So that's the red one, and it won't pull it in, but there's the white one, and it pulls it in. And it releases it after a second. And then I guess the red one's supposed to continue to hold it. So if I put it on both of them, now it stays in. So I got to figure out what energizes that. So the red one will the white one will only leave it in for a bit, and then the red one. So the white one, would it be for starting it, and then so maybe the white one's for starting it when you hit the key. The white one's what pulls it back, the red one's what holds it. Okay, so the white one would go with the key in the starter position when you're cranking it, and then the red one would be once it started and was running, and that would continue to hold it. I believe that's how it's going to be. So I need to look at all this right here and figure that out. We got a fuel pump that's running in the same circuits and plugs here. Here it is. Probably cut this loose. This is where it's crappily wired to, and this is how they taped it up. Look at that, like a really cheap, lousy tape. Also, really crazy. So I'm gonna remove their nonsense. Wow, they got an end on here that's big enough to be on a bulldozer. On this tiny little thing, man, on the positive. And then it's, look at this, it's all loose. Look, it's all loose. It's done just so horribly crappy. And look at all this, and look at this great big end on small wire. Wow, this needs to be changed anyway, because look at the cracking and stuff in it. It's just an accident waiting to happen. So I'll end up making a new power cable. I need to make a longer one anyway. And then I have a hydraulic crimper that I can put a proper gauged end on here. And I have proper connectors that I can fix this. But this wiring loom looks like it's pretty decent. I might put some kind of little wrap around it, little sleeve. Same thing on the ground. I definitely want to do that a little better. I think I just need to go through everywhere, tightening everywhere. But there's a lot of questions. But you know, it's a good thing that all I have is time. Yeah, that's a good thing for that. Which time's valuable, but you got to be doing something. Madness. I wonder if this is what their military equipment's like. Just think about that, you know? It can look really good. I'm not saying this looks really good though. But they make some stuff that looks really good. But I keep hearing these stories that, you know, this submarine and this ship burn up and all that. Some of their flagship stuff, you know, and I've heard about some of those ships that they're using for Coast Guard ships actually ended up with like big old holes ripped through the hulls. So I think they might be careful ramming people. And that's why they got decommissioned down from being a fighting vessel to a patrolling Coast Guard vessel, was because they were ready to get one strike and to the bottom, you know, and go to the Krusty Krab, you know. Man, just makes you wonder. But I'll tell you what, other things though, like that DJI equipment, that company builds some impeccably good stuff, man. So you never know. I guess just like anywhere, some people got integrity and some don't, you know. And I'm not saying that none of them have integrity. I'm just saying one company may not have no integrity and another company may have the highest integrity there is, like DJI, man. They just, I tell you, I really like their user level drone equipment and my cameras and my mic. We need some companies that step up to fill that market. You know who should have been doing that? Motorola. Motorola should have been doing that. Motorola, they were once the leader. They should have been the one making the little lapel mics and all of that kind of stuff. What is going on? I got the wiring fixed to the solenoid and it works now, so I'm going to locate an O-ring here and my assortment of O-rings to fit right in there, get it back on there, and that should be taken care of. Other than I still need to come over here and better secure it. Look at this end, they had wrapped with tape in here. This is how they sent it. Can you believe it? It does have a little solder on it. And they had that wrapped with tape and they didn't even put the sleeve back around it. And they had this red wire shoved up in there and they just dead end it. This is going up to the remote. Boy, it's got a lot of spare wiring in there that might come in handy at some point in time. We'll see. But I'm gonna also find out if this emergency kill is even wired, if it's even working. It may not even work. We're gonna find out though. And then that might be my next journey, is getting that working. But right now, at least I've knocked that down. Now the solenoid, this big old bracket, is not the right bracket for it, and they just have it wedged in one bolt. The other bolt's not in there, and they have it just wedged, the top of it against the block on this little piece here is wedged against the block and just at an angle and wedged in here. So I have to find the right holder for that. And this little solenoid is not very big around in there, and those usually have a rubber grommet around them, and that insulates it and protects it in the vibration and all. So I have to locate one of those. I can buy them online, other brands. They're pretty universal, but it's just so bunked the way they did things. I need to check out the charging system, but I'll definitely be having to take the lower unit apart. Water is not pumping to the top. It's coming all out around down here, which tells me it's not properly seated or connected in there, just junk. But I can fix it all, and I may, when I take it apart, eliminate this and build a new center section at the right height, small diameter, to where it doesn't look like I'm running a 350 Yamaha on this sucker or something. I don't even know if they make a 350 in a Yamaha, but still. And most likely that's just an 18 horsepower motor. That is called a 2V80, and they come in like 14 and let's see, maybe 12, 14, and 18. So I really doubt it's a 25 horsepower, but torquey. Remember, these are torquey. In fact, it's so torquey that when you rev it up, it really twists this motor around. It's got a lot of oomph there to it. Some of that might counter react when it's in gear with the prop thrusting forward. We'll see. But still got a lot to do. This shoddy work. Drill down through a bolt. Isn't that funny? Yeah. Still got things to see and do. But hey, while I'm rebuilding the boat, I'll rebuild a motor for the boat and try to make it not so behemoth. Yeah, and I'm still trying to figure out what lower unit this is that they put on here from what company. If any of you can recognize it. The water intakes are way to the back here, where some are a little bit more to the middle. And it has three, I guess this would be most likely exhaust right here, and it has 3 slots, but one of them only being a half slot. If this is recognizable to any of you, I mean factually recognizable, not just like saying, oh yeah, I know, well then let me know. And I'm curious to know exactly what that lower end came from. So funny, the very first O-ring I grabbed out of there was the right one, the right thickness. Got that back on there, and now, oh, thank God I did take this off. It would have blew all inside the cowling. Could you imagine? So, it showed it was working. Let's see if it'll kill the engine or let it start. It's not doing it again. What is its deal? What is the deal? What is keeping it from sucking in? When I take it out and I had it laying, it's working. So the same wire that's operating, yeah, it should be this wire right here. It should be the one allowing this to and this one here goes to the same post. Yeah, it's these two wired on the same one that engages the starter, and it also engages that over there. And there it is. So why is it not doing it? I'm gonna pull this loose so the starter won't engage. But I'm gonna feel it back here and see if I can feel it. Okay, well, tested this again straight to the battery, and it's working. But now again, it's not working on here. It's got to be all of these cruddy connectors. And I was looking at this, and they're just daisies chained together. This one, to this one, to this one, this, and so on. And there's actually no reason for it. There's just no reason at all. In fact, it should have just had one master plug on the end and a little harness coming here and plugging into it. I can make one of those up even using like a trailer plug, or I can order a waterproof plug to go on the end. Like I say, even a trailer plug would work, and eliminate down all this. But I was just chasing this, and there's no reasoning for all this daisy chaining going on here too. No fusing, and I think what I'll do is add some inline fuses with a little waterproof little holders. I can make this good. I'm gonna snip it off. Snip all these connectors, which is going to be a fail point, out with the salt water. I'm going to temporarily wire it all together. I need to shorten this loom. I eliminated all of this. Look at all that. I eliminated all of that mess, plug in the plug and the plug, and over here and jumping there. This is going to be in start position and then in run position. Pump's running, solenoid stays in, fuel keeps going to the injection pump. Turn the key off. There it is. Turn the key on. That's the pump running, but the plunger's not down. Hit the start key for the starter engage. And there it is. Stays down. Off the same circuit as the pump. Turn it off. There it is. Man. So that should be fixed now. And